In the world of real arcade machines and retro gaming, we all have our personal favorites, and for me, as many of you know who follow this channel for a long time, my personal favorite arcade character and arcade game of all time is Qbert. Owning an original Qbert arcade machine has been my personal dream and number one on my holy grail bucket list. Last time I tried to do this, I bought one from the Captain's Auctions warehouse, but we discovered that that was just a recreation cabinet running a game elf. Link in the video description below for my past story, the Broken Dreams Qbert arcade cabinet story. You guys definitely want to check that out to see where I started to where I ended up today, finally owning a fully functioning, fully original Qbert arcade cabinet. And it goes to show you that dreams do come true. If there is an arcade game or a retro video game console or anything like that that you would love to have and own, don't let anyone stop you. Make it happen. Make those dreams come true. But also remember, there is a commitment, especially if you're a perfectionist like me or nitpicky or things of that nature. Whenever you purchase arcade machines like this that are 40 years old, guys, well, guess what? You're going to have some fixing up to do. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be maintenance and things that you need to do. From a hardware point of view, this Qbert machine is in fantastic shape from a hardware point of view, but aesthetically, there is some restoration that we need to do. Such as this thing, especially if I want it to look beautiful and as new as possible, is going to need a whole new paint job around the whole cabinet. Especially on the kick plate. Kick plate's pretty beat up, as you can expect, because this was used in a commercial space. We do have drill holes in there that I got to fill in, putty over, and paint over, as well as coin doors I need to paint over. Those drill holes obviously are from a lock bar that was protecting the coin box. When it comes to the control panel artwork, you'll notice here that, yes, we got a lot of cracking and chipping. This control panel artwork is probably the original artwork on this arcade machine, and it has seen the test of time. There's a lot of chips and cracks and dings in it, and luckily, guess what? Great news! I already have new artwork in hand for this control panel, because I already pre-ordered it months back, knowing that I would probably have to do this if I ever owned a Qbert arcade. It's mostly on the bottom edges, as well as on the top, as you can see here, is where all this cracking and deterioration has taken place. And I absolutely love the Qbert control panel artwork. I think it's bright, it's yellow, it's beautiful, it's got all the characters on it, rules and options on how to play the game, as well as all the scoring, everything you need to know. And as you can kind of tell here as I'm sliding the camera over, that the main section is looking good. It's just all the edges have really chipped away, and that's just going to spread, which is why we're going to go ahead and replace the control panel artwork. But again, I already have it in hand. I could probably get away with the inside of the arcade machine, leaving it alone. But as you can see here, you can kind of see the brown original plywood peeking through underneath as age has started to chip this black paint. I could always take this bezel out, repaint the interior if I decide to. I'm probably going to do it anyway to make sure this thing looks fresh and tight. The bezel itself is in great condition. You could easily order a Qbert replacement bezel if you need one today from various arcade shops and Etsy and eBay and stuff. But this one actually looks really good, the colors and everything. And also you can kind of see the original CRT underneath, and sure enough, any Qbert game on an original CRT is going to have that beautiful Qbert screen burn put in. Now, this original Qbert does not have the original marquee that says Qbert on it. This has that Warren Davis custom marquee with Qbert cursing. I could replace this with a, with an original Qbert marquee, but honestly, guys, I love the Warren Davis marquee, because if there's one thing I love about Qbert is he's a foul-mouthed little SOB, and I love seeing him cursing as you approach the arcade machine. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape, but we'll know more once we light it up. Ah, the classic Gottlieb arcade shape with the beautiful Qbert arcade logo sticker on the side on a painted yellow cabinet. And sure enough, an arcade machine this old that was also used for commercial purposes definitely is going to need some cleaning up. We're going to try just cleaning it first. There's some scuff marks, there's some dirt marks from, this thing being moved around, as well as people kicking it with their feet, stuff like that. We're going to see if we can get it cleaned up. Now, if we can't get it cleaned up, we'll end up repainting the entire arcade cabinet. In fact, we might have to repaint the entire arcade cabinet, because I think I'm going to upgrade or change out the original side artwork. The side artwork itself is in very, very good shape. However, there's a couple issues on each side of the arcade. So for instance, right where the first exclamation mark is on the artwork, you'll notice that we got a gouge in there in the artwork. Now, good news is with that gouge right there is I can easily just replace the artwork. I already have the artwork in hand as well, just like the control panel. I ordered all Qbert artwork graphics because I knew eventually I'd get a Qbert and might have to fix it up. The T-molding all around the arcade machine looks to be in pretty good shape, just need to bang it back into the boards in certain parts. And again, the arcade looks pretty good. Like, I could technically leave it like this, but then again, just like the left-hand side of the arcade, the right-hand side of the arcade also has some gouges in the artwork from the test of time and things banging into the arcade machine. So we're going to have to, get that stuff replaced. So I'm probably going to do a full artwork replacement on this, which means I'm going to end up repainting the cabinet, which is no big deal. Yellow paint, black paint, it couldn't be simpler. And then you put some stickers over top once the paint dries. That kind of restoration on a Qbert cabinet is not that time consuming. As you can see here, this is 100% a definite original Gottlieb arcade. Looking for the serial number or the serial sticker is probably something you should always check for when purchasing an original arcade machine to make sure it truly is an original arcade machine, not something else that has been converted or something that has been newly created. And although no one's really going to see the back of the cabinet, since I have to repaint the front of the cabinet because I want to, I'll obviously repaint the back of the cabinet. So I hope you guys come back for the second video on this one where we show all the wonderful upgrades and restoration that we've done to this original Qbert arcade machine. I got very lucky because the private owner that I purchased this from, well, he had the keys, thank God. I didn't have to drill into the locks like I did last time. So I'm able to get in, and 100%, there it is, the original Qbert PCB, as well as filter board, CRT, it's all in here, baby! And take a look at how clean and nice that Qbert PCB looks. So the PCB itself is in good shape, some of the other boards and the inside of the cabinet just need some good cleaning. The CRT's in pretty good shape. Yes, we got the Qbert burn-in screen, but the coloring and everything looks fantastic. Hard to pick up on my DSLR cameras, which you'll see. It actually shows up better on cell phone cameras versus a DSLR camera. And yes, the original Qbert knocker is in here. I don't know if it's been replaced once before. I think it may have been because that metal bracket's looking a little bit newer, a little bit cleaner than inside. But that is a Qbert knocker, so maybe they replaced it over time. But it works completely the way it should. It's nice and loud. It's fantastic. The bottom of the cabinet's where the power supply and everything is, and this is looking pretty dirty, which you expect to see on the bottom of the arcade machine. I'm going to clean things up, and hopefully after I clean things up, I mean, the machine's running perfectly, so I'm assuming there's no power issues right now, but we'll clean it up and see if anything could use any kind of updating or upgrading. The marquee lights up beautifully. I just noticed that we have one little itty-bitty like ding in the black paint right here, so you see a little bit of light bleed right through there, but I could easily fill that in versus replacing the entire marquee because the rest of the marquee's in great shape. It's always fun trying to capture footage of what a CRT looks like depending on what cameras you're using with today's technology. So this looks a little funky. I'm going to play some cell phone video here for you guys in a minute. But if you notice here, you can see the purple, you can see the orange. When the screen flashes appropriately, you can tell that the Qbert CRT here is in great shape when it comes to the coloring. And again, that flickering is just because it's a CRT, and DSLR cameras and CRTs don't like each other when it comes to videotaping. The speakers on this thing sound fantastic, so good news there, nothing wrong with the audio. And of course, we do have an original Qbert joystick in here. Qbert had its own unique joystick for its arcade machine, and we have the original joystick in here, and it works perfectly. Now, is this the original joystick that came with the arcade machine? No, that probably needed replaced over time, but of course you can buy original Qbert joysticks for replacement parts from certain arcade parts websites, so someone had replaced it over time, and of course the original buttons work. And although Qbert is not the most popular arcade character or arcade game of all time, it's definitely up there, and it's definitely still my favorite. We all have our own personal favorites, and guys, I can't tell you how happy I am that I finally own a fully working, operational Qbert arcade machine. I'm going to have a couple more videos for this arcade cabinet showing off the restoration and the things that I've done to it. And yes, I already have the parts already, so it's not going to take me 6 months to get to it. We're going to get to it pretty quickly for you guys, so I hope you guys come back and check those videos out, as well as some additional mods we're going to do to this thing, adding some fun stuff.
Oh no!